Today I want to show you every step it took to take my dead lawn area behind me to what you see today in 28 days. Before I show you the lawn, I want to show you how it started out. We had the biggest winter ever on record, and this grass spent more time under snow than it should have. Had I been ahead of the game, I would have applied fungicide last fall, but it snowed too early, and I would have shoveled off the green at some point during the winter and kept the snow off so that I didn't get this complete winter kill. As you can see, there were only a couple little alive patches, and I mean very small, 6 or 10 little spots, no more than about 6 inches around, and that was it. So once the snow finally melted on May 1st, I did the very first thing, and it's something I've recommended as the first thing anybody does in the spring for many, many years. I went out and I scarified it. Now this can be considered scarifying or dethatching. In this case, absolutely scarifying. I really wasn't pulling up any dead material, but what I was doing was opening it up and creating a space to put down some seed. So that took me to step 2, and this is where everybody needs to kind of look at their whole lawn if they're starting from a bad spot, how much they're actually going to put into it in order to get it growing and how quickly you're trying to get there. Because the time it takes for you to work on it is very minimal. The biggest thing that you're going to deal with is Mother Nature's time. Make sure that you know that you're not going to transform something immediately, that it's going to take some linear time, not necessarily time out of your day, in order to get it where you want it to go. Second step, I seeded the whole thing. I used the Turfman blend with sand in it, so it kind of doubled my application, kind of like a light top dressing because of the sand that was in the material, which was great. The seed and the sand went together, it went in through everything that I had scratched up, and now suddenly we have a nice seed bed. Immediately after that, on the third step, I fed it. I fed it with starter fertilizer. I used Green Pop at 24 ounces per 1,000 square feet to really give it a good hit and get everything moving and growing. Now here's something that we should definitely note. Those little spots that were alive tried to spread a little bit, but no new grass came up from the areas that were dead. It only came up from seed. So everything I'm showing you today is from the seeding, not from having the grass suddenly come back to life. So once I had scarified, I'd already seeded, and now I'd fed it, we were moving into the next couple of things that were specific to this, but can also apply to a regular lawn as well. I also did a light top dressing with a top dressing material that I manufactured down out of Georgia. Put it over the whole thing, not a whole lot, only a couple of 100 pounds, just sort of spread that in to give it a little more layering. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to get the seed down even a little bit deeper, and that made a big difference as well. Plus, since the material was black and dark, it was radiating the sunlight more, which was helping increase the soil temperatures because it has been cold here. We've only seen a few days above 70 degrees. For the most part, it's been in the 50s and low 60s, which is not actually ideal for bringing this seed out. It needs more heat, and at night it was still getting down into the lower 30s. And sometimes, if it was a warm night, about 42 degrees. So if you're going to be doing this on your own lawn, it's good to put a little top dressing material down. If that's a little sand, a little soil, a little peat moss, something else to cover up the seed a little bit better, help hold a little bit more moisture so you're not having to just constantly water. So let's talk about that. Watering. I did have to water this earlier than I would have. I have not started watering my main lawn area yet, but I did have to do it on this area because I seeded and I needed to make sure that the seed maintained a certain amount of moisture in order to grow in. So I did water every day. I watered 2 times, but I was only putting a little more than a half an inch a week out because I was getting some afternoon monsoonal type rains, which was really interesting. That was actually helping along with this process as well. That's really the hardest part about all of this, is I could do all of that work that I mentioned in maybe 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes is all it's taken out of the last 28 days to go from dead to where it is now. All of this is Mother Nature's timing, and I have to wait, and I have to be patient. So that's what I did. So this area back here, I have already mowed about a dozen times now because the grass was coming up, it was getting long, and I need to keep it super short. So I have my reel mower set as low as it'll possibly go. So I'm cutting it at about a little over 1/10 of an inch on this whole thing, and that's helping the grass to start to spread and move laterally, which is what I really need. We're due for the next feeding. Why? There's considerably more grass out here. It's been only about 21 days, but because this is a sand-based green, I need to feed it a little bit more often, and it's just gonna have to get another hit. Was there really any other special magic or anything else? No. Again, if the temperatures had been warmer, it would be further than it is. Am I ecstatic about where it is right now, given everything? Absolutely. Is it perfect? Far from it. It's going to take about another month for this to totally fill in and be where it truly needs to be, which is considerably faster than when I grew the green in to begin with. I seeded it in August. I had the opportunity to have it grow all the way up until about October 1st, and then I was maybe in this good a condition coming out in the spring, but I actually think it was even not quite as thick as it is right now. So I know that I'm about 3 to 4 weeks ahead of even when I started this project 2 years ago, which is really, really cool. The big question is, what can I do to prevent this? Number one, I gotta make sure that I get my fungicide out probably by Halloween this year, and if we don't have an early winter, I can do it again by Thanksgiving. That's gonna be a big one. If we have huge amounts of snowfall out here, I'm gonna have to come out here with my snowblower and clear it off occasionally. Get it out and let it just kind of air out for a little bit. And then I think we'll be in pretty good shape. If you wanna see where it started, click this video right here. That'll show you the condition. And if you wanna see what it looked like in its glory last summer, click this one here underneath it. That'll kind of give you an idea of what we got to get back to. I'll talk to you later.